Hiya folks, welcome back. It's Will here once again. We're here to break down UFC Fight Night 79 from Seoul, South Korea, as Benson Henderson faces off against Jorge Masvidal in the main event. This card is pretty much a filler card before these big events in December. Some good fights on there, not too many, but there are some fighters I'm looking forward to see. I'm looking forward to the main event. Looking forward to seeing Akiyama again. We haven't seen much of him over the 5-6 years he's been in the UFC. Dong Kim's always fun to watch. And there's a couple of the young up-and-comers from Korea coming up through there as well. Before I get into that, just come and follow me on Twitter, WillMartin7MMA. If you can, please subscribe to the channel. And please comment. I just want to know what you guys think and your picks for the event as well. So, we're going to start off in this card. We're going to start down in the welterweight division. We have Dominic Steele against Dong Kim. There's two Dong Kims on this card. This is the guy who I've literally just found out in the last probably 20 minutes is facing Dominic Steele. It was Hyun Lim that was supposed to be facing Dominic Steele. And if that fight went ahead, I would have picked Hyun Lim. Easy first round TKO. Kind of had a little look at Dong Kim. I've seen his last few fights, his last two pretty much in the last 20 to 30 minutes that I found out this news. Looked at his record. He's got 6 wins via TKO, 6 wins via submission, and 1 via decision. With 2 of his losses come by submission and 4 by decision. Pretty good on the feet from what I've seen. He's got some knockout power, but he's not got good defense to the takedown. And with Dominic Steele, he's pretty much a grinder in that mould. So this could be a matchup. It's definitely a lot favourable matchup than it was beforehand. Dominic Steele, his only fight in the UFC was against Zach Cummins, and he got blasted out of there very, very quickly. I like Dominic Steele. I don't think he'll take out Dong Kim, but I think he will get an easy decision victory. So Dominic Steele for me there. Ning Juang Wei against Beltran. Beltran beat Chito Vera at UFC 188, I believe it was. I could be wrong. And Ning's won a couple of fights in the UFC. Both guys are pretty terrible. If you're looking, they both kind of swing punches, but Guangyou has got some. He will put you against the fence and he'll take you down, and he doesn't really have too much else. He's quite a kind of older guy. I think he hasn't got the best of record either. So not really going to get into that one too much. I like Ning here. I think he can get the victory. I just see it being very, very sloppy, but a win for him there. So unanimous decision victory for Ning Juang Wei. Next up we've got Zhikui against Fredy Serrano. Another fight which isn't great in all honesty. Fredy Serrano, he was in that Ultimate Fighter Latino America first season. Only got a couple of fights under his belt as a professional. He's a wrestler out of Colombia. But in his last fight against Bentley Sila, he showed some knockout power and some nice kind of feints, and caught Sila with a big shot and took him out. I think he got himself a nice bonus if I remember right in that one. Zhikui, I think, is 2-2 in his career with a loss to Royston Wee and I can't remember who he beat last time. Let me have a look. I know it wasn't anybody particularly good, put it that way. And my overall thoughts on the kind of matchup is that Serrano, I think he's wrestling. You'll see more of his wrestling coming into this one here, but I think that Serrano will come out. He'll throw the jab out there. He'll throw some leg kicks. He'll use some movement to see where Zhikui is going to come from. I like Serrano big in this one. I think he can get a finish. I don't think he will, but Fredy Serrano for me via a decision, another decision to add to the ones we already have. A fight that I'm looking forward to is Seoul Ham against Cortney Casey. Ham, both these last girls' fights was against Joanne Calderwood. Joanne Calderwood got the victory over both. Seoul Ham that was it was actually a fun fight, that one in Las Vegas in the tough finale for the show that Joanne Calder was on. She's just a bit undersized, I think, for that division. So Cortney Casey, on the other hand, I got to see her first hand in Glasgow, coming in there. I think it was about 10 days' notice, replacing Beck Rollins. Come in and wasn't scared at all, and you could see she's got some big power in those hands. This training camp, she's been training with the champion Johanna Jędrzejczyk. She got in there that first round. She threw some big shots at Joanne Calder in the first 30 seconds and really hurt JoJo, and that crowd in Glasgow just went eerily quiet. And was she kept going. She's got a lot of guts. She's very tough, but she got backed up in the cage a little bit too much here. I think she has to be the aggressor in this fight, and she has to just come out. And I think this will be a fight that kind of stays more on the ground, on the feet. And if that kind of happens, I prefer Cortney Casey. I think she's going to beat a lot of good girls in this division. I think she's got a lot of skills. She's got some power for the division. She's got some good leg kicks as well that you have to keep an eye out. She was a former soccer player. So, yeah, you have to really keep an eye on her here. My pick, I'm going to go Cortney Casey, another decision in this one here. In fact, no, I'm going to go Cortney Casey, TKO early in the third round. Ham's very tough, but having 4 decisions in a row doesn't usually pan out. Next up, we've got Dongi Yang against Jake Collier. Dongi Yang's back in the UFC with a win over Dennis Hallman. He was in beforehand. He faced Brad Tavares. I think Rob Kimmins was another one of his wins, but he didn't look great in that stint he was in the UFC. I don't see any reason really why he's back in the UFC. I know they're in South Korea for the first time and he's from there, but yeah, Jake Collier, I think, is I like this guy a lot. I thought that fight with Vitor Miranda, he came out and he was really hurting him, and then he got hurt with a huge high kick, and then he came out and got the W the next time out. I like Jake Collier. I think he's going to be the underdog in this fight. I like him here. I think he can stifle Dongi Yang's attacks, stop the takedowns, and get enough offense off himself to get the victory. So Jake Collier via I'm going to go submission in the second round there. Next up, we've got Hyun against Leo Kuntz. Sorry. Hyun Bang, since he's been in the UFC, he's been a lot of fun fights, and I'm interested to see where he kind of goes from here. He came in against Mirbek Taisumov, was just a little bit outmatched in that one, got taken down. Mirbek was just a very well-rounded fight on that lightweight division, and he showed it in that fight. Came back against Cajun Johnson. Very fun fight, UFC 174, won themselves a bonus. They had a beautiful knockout in the third round where he uncaught a shot and Cajun's chin just went missing. And then the last time out against John Tuck. John Tuck's a really underestimated guy in that 155 division. He got caught with a rear naked choke back in the Philippines this year. Leo Kuntz, second fight in the UFC. First fight was against Islam Makhachev. He got off to a fairly decent start, but hit with some big shots, and then once it kind of hit the ground, it was kind of all over from there. I like Hyun Bang in this one. I think he can knock out Leo Kuntz. I'm going second round TKO. Next up, we have the Korean bulldozer. We have Yu Chul Nam. There we go. Should slow myself down a little bit. A pretty fun fighter to watch, in all honesty. I've seen his fights before here. He was in Road FC. I've seen a couple of them in there. This guy's just all grappling, and that's all he's going to really look for. He had a pretty fun fight last time out against Felipe Novair. Clearly won the second round, but it could have easily went his way. Felipe Novair, I thought he did more in the feet, and he kind of stifled a few more takedowns, and he got the decision victory there. Against Mike De La Torre, I saw him firsthand his last fight out against Maximo Blanco. I was there watching in the tough finale. I thought he was a little bit unlucky. I think he got hit with a shot, and I think the ref stopped it a little bit too easy. He's a guy who kind of finishes fights, or he gets finished himself. He had a beautiful knockout at Thiago Trattoria, and caught a beautiful right-left combination that took him down, and he finished with some big shots on the ground. it's all about whether he can stop the takedown that Nam's gonna. That's ultimately his game plan. He's gonna put you against the cage and try and take you down. I think De La Torre is a crafty veteran. I'm going to go with De La Torre. Not overly confident, but I'm going to go De La Torre via a very close decision. Next up is a fight I'm looking forward to. It's Choi against Sam Sicilia. Now, I think this could be an all-out war on the feet here. Sam Sicilia is known for having big power in his hands, as is Choi. Sam Sicilia, he's so up and down in the UFC. It's not even funny, but he's won 3 of his last 4 in all fairness. Beat Aaron Phillips, which isn't a big win. Lost to Katsunori Kakuno, where he got submitted. Then came out, knocked out Akira Kosani, pretty much put him into retirement. And then had a pretty dominant victory over Yautsin Meza back in San Diego, back in the summer there, where it wasn't a fight that really stood out in anything, but he hurt Meza a little bit. He stopped the takedowns, did enough to look good in the judges' eyes, and got the victory there. Choi, on the other hand, he's come in. This is his second fight in the UFC. Watched this guy coming through on the deep. We've seen his fight against Mitsuhiro Ishida. It was a beautiful knee knockout. Umeda was a beautiful knockout in the first round. Nagakura was a corner stoppage, brutal cut over the eye of Nagakura. Maruyama was another second round TKO, and it was just this guy's got some power in his hands, and we've seen that last time against Juan Puig back in San Antonio. I think it was about a year ago. God, I thought that guy had fought in between then. Obviously not. I like him in this fight. I think if these guys start trading, Sicilia's got a lot of power, and not many people kind of stand and bang with this guy. This guy will do it. I like Choi. I like via knockout. I think he might do it early, so I'm going to go a first round knockout for Choi. Next up in the welterweight division, we have Yosihiro Akiyama. I am a fan of Akiyama, but we never ever see the guy. He came in at UFC 100. I think he's fought like once a year since 2009, so it's kind of hard to really get behind him. But the guys that he does face are pretty good guys, in all honesty. He came in, Alan Belcher, that was a fun fight. I don't really think he won that fight, in all honesty. Went a 3-fight skid, had a really fun fight with Chris Lieben where he got choked out in the third. Michael Bisping, he just got outclassed, but it was a fun fight. It was a bit of a firefight, that one. Bisping's quickness was just too much. Vitor Belfort, he got taken out in the first round. UFC 133, UFC 144, a stinker against Jake Shields. And then last time out against Amir Sadala, just looked pretty good in the welterweight division. He showed some new kind of tools to his belt here. His movement looked okay. He got off the shots. He stopped the takedown of Sadala. He's against Alberto Mina in this fight. Mina is, I think he's undefeated, 11-0. Knocked out Shinzo Anzai last time in the first round. Bisping Lee card. That was well over a year as well. A lot of guys coming off long layoffs in this one. I actually watched this guy a few years back against Dina Massinger. 2010, he won that fight. He dominated that fight and came out in the third round and stopped it. I like the underdog in this fight. I like Alberto Mino. I think he's just got a little bit more to him than what Akiyama is. I just can't trust Akiyama not fighting that much. I shouldn't really say that, considering Mina's barely fighting himself. I like the underdog. It's kind of dog or pass in this one, so I'm going to go Alberto Mina via a decision. In the welterweight co-main event, I'm not going to get into this too much. It's Dong Hyun Kim against Dom Waters. Dong Hyun Kim is an elite fighter in that welterweight division. Dominic Waters really is not. Dominic Waters trains out of Jackson Winklejohns in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So, that, like we've seen with the Holly Holm thing, they put great game plans together. But I don't see where he has any weapons here to really hurt Dong Hyun Kim. I mean, Dominic Waters win. In fact, was it a win? I don't even think it was a win against George Sullivan. I think he lost that fight last time out. We had Dong Hyun Kim. Last time he beat Josh Burtman via a beautiful arm triangle choke in the third round at UFC 187. So yeah, and then he lost to Tyron Woodley with a with a brutal KO, and then he had a brutal KO himself against John Hathaway. He's got judo skills. I just don't see where Don Waters is really going to handle this guy. Dong Young Kim, first round TKO for me. Main event of the night, Benson Henderson against Jorge Masvidal. This is a really good fight. I like this fight a lot more, being Henderson, Masvidal. I think Masvidal is really... it was supposed to be Thiago Alves in this main event, let's get that out there, but he pulled out due to an injury. I think it was a broken rib he had. And Kim was supposed to face Masvidal. He stepped up in the card here. I think a lot of people are really underestimating Jorge Masvidal. I've been on Twitter the last couple of days and they've been talking about this event a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. It's not a fight week yet. And a lot of people are saying Jorge Masvidal doesn't deserve to be in there with Benson Henderson. And that to me is a little bit surprised. Jorge Masvidal is a veteran of the sport. He's faced a lot of tough guys. He's moved up to the welterweight division. This is his second fight there in the UFC after knocking out Mutante Ferreira back in July. I watched that fight. Just Ferreira's chin is just not there, and Jorge Masvidal has some beautiful crisp technique on the feet, and he can hurt you down there. He's got good takedown defense as well. Ali Akinta fight, could have easily won that fight. Beat James Krause beautifully beforehand. Beat Darren Cruikshank before that. Pat Healy was another one he's win. Before that, he lost to Kabalov, which was contentious as well. So the guy's a really tough fighter, and he brings a lot of skills to the cage. Has he got enough skills to beat Benson Henderson here? I think he does, personally. I think Benson Henderson might be on his way out. This could be his last fight in the UFC, I believe. He might go and test that free agency thing, go to Bellator, get himself a lot more money over there, get himself some half decent fights, but ultimately get himself a lot more money. And we've seen last time out stepping up on late notice and facing Brandon Thatch, and so that was earlier on in the year. That was like February, that was Valentine's Day if I remember right, and he looked phenomenal in that fight, I thought. Before that he had losses to Serrano, which I think he won, and then he had Rafael Dos Anjos before that where he got knocked out cold. Close fight. I really want to pick Jorge Masvidal, but I'm going to go with Benson Henderson. He's got the more big fight experience. I know that Masvidal's fought for titles in the past, but Benson Henderson, I think he's just got enough of the grappling with him. He'll hit leg kicks a little bit more often. So I'm going to go with Benson Henderson via a unanimous decision in this one, but it could be quite close and would not surprise me one bit if Jorge Masvidal wins that fight. I'm a big fan of Jorge Masvidal, so Henderson for me. So that's my fights for UFC Fight Night 79 from Seoul, South Korea. I'll be back for the run in December with 3 events in 3 nights. I'll probably put out the first 2 cards on the same video, I reckon. And then we've got UFC 194, which is a motherfucking riot of a card, which I can't wait to break down and watch. I'll be appearing on a few shows before then. I think I'll be on Half the Battle with Daniel Levy, so you go check out my good man's stuff that he puts on there, because he's straight fire at the minute. Everything that he's putting out is great stuff. Go subscribe to him on iTunes as well as SoundCloud. There's a Best Fight Picks, his website. Go do all that, because Dan's the man, in my opinion. He's a really good guy. Part and Shot podcast, go follow those guys. Severe MMA, forever knocking it out of the park over here in Europe and Ireland. And just thanks to everybody who comes follow me on Twitter, who comes on here, coerces with me, talk about my videos and giving me some thumbs up and some pointers, what I could do better. And I'll keep trying. I'm just here to talk about fights. That's all I'm here for. So come follow me on Twitter, WillMartin7MMA. Subscribe, like, share the video if you can, and I will see you for that run in December where we have straight fire of UFC events, which is going to be a great way to finish 2015 in the world of MMA. So take care, see you then.